Hey folks, welcome to module number 8. The topic of this module is marketing techniques, and it's part 2 of our marketing techniques review. And module 8, same format as we have had in every other week. We want to make sure that you focus on the textbook, review the PowerPoint slides, of course review the videos. There's some information for you to review in the scans as we move into module number 9. And then, of course, we'll wrap it up with just some comments on summarizing Module 8 and then going on to Module 9. And really, we're continuing to review what the author called marketing techniques. And really, we're looking at some of the traditional marketing approaches that have been used. We'll look at those. We'll also look at some more contemporary approaches, and then we'll wrap up the discussion with the conversation around social media. And the healthcare industry really has adopted in this traditional approaches of marketing, and they absorbed those a little bit later than other industries. They copied the other industries, but they have adopted a number of those, and they've also focused on some of the more contemporary approaches as they get up to speed. And of course, social media, it's everywhere, and you can't get away from it, and we're all in the thick of that. So when you think about traditional marketing, the traditional approaches, really the focusing is around what they call promotional mix, or how do you promote your products and your services. And then there's also something called social marketing. It's not to be confused with social media, but those are the two main components of the traditional approach. And when you think about the promotional mix, those are the tools that you use to implement your marketing plan. And so you think about things, what are the media options that you're going to want to select in terms of printing, electronic, etc. But what are the tools that you may deploy those different media options within? And so there's the public relation component, which is really historically what healthcare organizations focused on. Promoting messages to the community, a focus on education. There's advertising approaches. There's personal sales approaches, which really revolves around one-to-one sales transaction. There's the sales promotion model, where you actually go to a trade show and you can target more than just one person, but many people using that tool of sales promotion. There's direct marketing approaches, and then there's a whole idea around networking and relationships and how you build even more sales and sell more products as you focus on relationships that you have within your network. And when you think about the media options that are available, print, you have electronic media options, you have just the advertising or to display type options. Many of you folks probably saw were made aware about the MHA program at Blue Cross just because of walking through the lobby of the building and seeing the billboards that were laid out within the lobby, so that they could educate you on the program that you're now enrolled in. Electronic media, television, radio. People don't think that radio is still alive, but it is. It's another media option that you can use when you're looking at different channels. And then, of course, print media is absolutely critical. And the other piece, too, that I think we sometimes don't think about is movie theaters. That's a tremendous avenue for both public service announcements and also to educate on products. And I think about movies when I go now. There's a whole bunch of advertisements that are displayed before the movie even starts. And so those are just a number of options that are available in terms of media options and when you build your marketing program. And then the other thing to keep thinking about with, in addition to how you promote a product through those different channels and then using different media options, is really this whole idea around social marketing. And really the goal of social marketing is really to influence attitudes, influence people's behaviors, to really focus on groups of people instead of individuals. And so you can see there, it's not social media, but it's another traditional approach to selling products is to influence broad groups of people. And so that's labeled social marketing. And there's a number of functions within social marketing that have been outlined in the text. But really, it's about building awareness within a group. It's about prompting some desired response to get people really to buy or use your service. It's about helping to increase the uses of services that you're trying to promote. And it's also a good tool if you want to advocate for a health issue, you want to educate a population of people. And so social marketing functions definitely are important. And then another consideration was this whole idea around integrated marketing, and not just picking one channel or one media option to get your message across to stakeholders, but really taking your message and really thinking broadly when you're doing your marketing plan on how do I incorporate my message into every single stakeholder, customer, member, patient touch point. And so whether they're getting something in the mail, whether they're seeing something on the web, whether they're seeing something in a printed format that's displayed in a lobby or in an office building, all of those messages, when you integrate your marketing approach, really help to drive the message in. It allows you to thin down the number of messages, and it also allows you to leverage a lot of different tools that you can attach a marketing message to that you may not be thinking about. And I know, for example, we think about a communication tool that uses an integrated approach with in the old days when people got payroll stuffers, we would insert marketing messages within their paycheck, in addition to team meetings or other communication venues that we would expose messaging to. And so just be keeping in mind the importance of making sure that you're integrating your message, whatever your message is. It's being integrated in all the touch points that are available and that people are exposed to. When you think about the more contemporary approach, really there is a shift in how the historical marketing approach were leveraged based on how the more contemporary approaches were leveraged. The more contemporary approaches really focus more on relationships. They focus on more on a programmatic perspective, and how do you sort of sell the program or sell the service through relationships. And so that is absolutely critical. And you think about how our pharmaceutical companies really leverage this, and what they did is they wanted to focus on relationship and go directly to consumers. And so lots of advertisements were created to target consumers, focus on relationships, try to build that sort of alliance between an organization, a product, a service, and consumers. And business to business relationships are the same way. When you have consulting firms, they focus heavily on relationships and on building touch points and having key stakeholders within the organization that they build strong relationships with, so they can continue those partnerships and continue to sell their programs and services. You think about it, for example, within a health plan, a large group customer may have a dedicated unit that provides servicing, and so that is a more relationship-focused approach to the relationship and servicing that customer and communicating to that customer. And then all the focus we see now in concierge services, going above and beyond what normally consumers can experience. And then the second piece of the contemporary focus is you have the more relationship focus around your programs and your services. And also there's a much greater focus around data and information and management and technology. And really, we use data now all the time in our marketing approaches to identify where should we be targeting, who should we be targeting. And then there's also technologies that are available now to help us actually maintain those relationships that are being built and being developed. And whole software platforms, Salesforce, for example, is a platform that helps sales folks, marketing teams, manage the relationships that they have with new customers, with customers that have been around for a short period of time, and customers who are long term. And it helps again to maintain some consistency and some data management of all of those relationships. When you think about the contemporary approaches around the programmatic component, and then also around the data pieces, there are some challenges in that space. There's the concern around, do you have enough data? How do you manage the data? How do you make the data consumable? How do you report on it? How do you keep that data valuable? And then there's some ethical and privacy concerns, I think, particularly around this whole idea of having relationships with certain customers and with certain partners. And, is there any kind of ethical or other considerations from a legal perspective about those relationships that companies that are selling have built with the folks that they are targeting. Years ago, a pharmaceutical company, they could take physicians out to dinner, they could take them on trips, they could take them on wonderful vacations. All that's changed. And the goal was to build relationships with those different providers. And so ethical and other issues related to that have changed that whole environment. And now it's for a customer, for a pharmaceutical company, or really any company to take someone out to dinner, even oftentimes is looked at with a lot of scrutiny from a financial perspective. So the last focus within the module is really on social media, and social media is a great tool that all of us have in our hands every day, many hours during the day. We have our phones with us, our smartphones, and so social media is it's everywhere. It's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. But it's interesting when you look at the growth of social media, which really has just catapulted over the last couple of years, and how it continues to grow, and how the large data companies and the data that they have access to, the power they have within both culture and society is absolutely incredible. And you can see the leaders and the folks who have not done a great job in the social media space. And it's interesting because health plans and really healthcare organizations in general have generally had a hard time getting into the social media space. You ask a health plan member where is the number one place that they go for health information online, and they will tell you it is not the health plan website. It is probably WebMD or some other comparable source. And so the health plans have really missed, and in provider organizations, et cetera, have missed out on being able to really engage with their patients and with their members electronically. And a lot of it has to do with the privacy issues with data. It has to do with integrating social media tools with legacy technology platforms. That's really hard to do. And so what that's done is it's created a whole new environment for marketing and a whole new environment within the marketplace, even with new stakeholders rising up who are new companies that have nimble technology platforms. You look at the service that you receive from Amazon, and how could that, from a social media marketing perspective, really change and compete with the tools that are in place today with large healthcare organizations. So as I mentioned, social media is definitely not going to be going away. We've gone from the internet to social media to where now the internet is in your hands. And the value of social media, it's fast, it's easy to consume information, and you can provide feedback on what you're consuming on a social media platform. We see the pros and cons of that as people slam each other and can really cause a lot of harm to other individuals through social media. But you're familiar with the different kinds of social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the social networks, blogs, microblogs, all the different content communities that are available, the podcasts that are available through audio tools that are linked to your social media platforms. And every organization is using social media, health plans, providers, government agencies. I mean, there really isn't an organizational type within healthcare that has not gotten online and gotten on the bandwagon around at least the web, if not engaging in social media. Particularly, I can't think of any organization that does not have a LinkedIn page. Whether or not they use it's another story, but it is important and it is out there for individuals to at least access. And so, number of applications are important for healthcare organizations within social media. Information sharing, image management, and doing damage control. I think it's critical that all organizations have dedicated resources that are monitoring their social media feeds and their social media platforms to see how quickly a problem can escalate across the entire web when something goes viral, and the importance of making sure that you're managing that you're doing damage control, There's also the whole idea around how do you increase website traffic and how do you generate more and more use and of your social media tools and your online tools, and making sure that you have a strong online presence. In terms of developing a media strategy, absolutely critical for us to understand the steps that are involved. And there's a number of steps that are outlined around developing a strategy. And really, it's not different than what we talked about in other marketing strategy development, strategic plan development, but really setting goals and objectives, making sure that you're reviewing data, monitoring the marketplaces, that you are understanding the audience, that you're understanding the competition, that you're auditing to see what the gaps are, both from your perspective, to see where there are gaps within the market that you're working in, to see how you can fill that. The other piece that is important within social media is to make sure that you have a regular um, uh, circulation of providing content. I have a niece who's a YouTube um, um, vlogger, and she makes a pretty significant amount of money every month. She has a blog called Large Family Living, and she just videos her day with her family. She's got 11 kids, and so she'll do, large family grocery shopping, large family this, large family Christmas, and it's incredible that the number of hits that she gets to her videos when she posts them, and up to 4,000 or 5,000 some of those videos are viewed. And she's monetized the platform and is really doing about 4 to 5 videos per week. But she knows that 4 to 5 videos per week is a sweet spot for her in terms of having a calendar of repetition, and that if she wants to maintain her interest in her audience, that she understands the frequency that she needs to post. And so those things are important when you're developing your social media campaign, is having a regular approach to how you're going to be posting content. The last piece about social media and the use of social media is really the ethical concerns. And there's issues, I think, which have hindered health plans and other healthcare organizations, hospital systems, from really having much more robust sites. And I think that has to do with privacy and confidentiality issues. How do you protect the medical record? How do you maintain access to that medical record if you want to provide information for a member on their mobile device that comes out of your medical records? There's a lot of places to break down that technology platform to hack it and to steal data and enter into the health system infrastructure. There are questions about medical issues and the ethics, and what is the best health information to share with members? Who's the source of truth? How's that truth monitored? How's it updated? What's the accrediting organization that's looking over the information that's provided to patients, members, etc. The last piece, which I think is an interesting concept, is really maintaining a balance between your professional presence and your personal preference. And so oftentimes, organizations and individuals can get into conflicts because the individual who works for an organization may be speaking as a professional and may be attached to the organization, may or may not be officially from their website, but there's connections back to that organization. And so if that individual is speaking about an organization in a disparaging way, there can be complications around that. And so it's really important. And I know when we look at LinkedIn profiles, and half the profiles personal, half the profiles on it lists the organization. All of those considerations need to be taken into account as you're building your social media marketing plans. That's the end of today's talk. I hope the information was helpful, and I'll look forward to seeing you at the end of the module.